For the past several years, mental health disorder has been on the rise. According to an article entitled Mental Health in America, a Growing Crisis published by the Psychiatric Times, the CDC reports that from August 2020 to February 21, there has been a number of adults showing signs of depression and anxiety. Of those reported unmet mental health needs, there has been an increase of 2.5%. And children ranging from age 5 to 17, the overall mental health-related emergency department visits increased by a staggering 31% in just 4 years. We know that many of you are tuning in during your lunch hour. So let's chat and chew while you do. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Dr. Glenn Warren, the founder of Fathers Forever. Welcome to today's episode of Chat and Chew. Today, we're going to talk about the growing issues of mental health disorder in our communities and our neighborhoods. To help us with our discussion, we're going to bring on Ms. Betty Murchison, my mentor, my longtime friend, to help us discuss this topic today. But before we make that introduction, let's take care of a few housekeeping items. To our viewers, please make sure you follow us on Facebook, like, and subscribe. To our YouTube channel, hit the little bell to activate notifications that will remind you that we're on. Please be sure to leave a comment to let us know how we're doing. We'd love to hear from you.
Among the most accomplished and fabled tribes of Africa, no tribe was considered to have warriors more fearsome or more intelligent than the mighty Maasai. It is perhaps surprising then to learn the traditional greeting that passed between Maasai warriors and "How are the children?" It is still the traditional greeting among the Maasai, acknowledging the high value that the Maasai always place on their children's well-being. Even warriors with no children of their own would always give the traditional answer, "All the children are well," meaning, of course, that peace and safety prevail, that the priorities of protecting the young are in place, that Maasai society has not forgotten its reason for being, its proper functions and responsibilities. All the children are well means that life is good. It means that the daily struggles for existence do not preclude proper caring for their young. I wonder how it might affect our consciousness of our own children's welfare if in our culture we took to greeting each other with this daily question, "And how are the children?" I wonder if we heard that question and passed it along to each other a dozen times a day, if it would begin to make a difference in the reality of how the children are thought of or cared about in our own country. I wonder if every adult among us, parent and non-parent alike, felt an equal weight for the daily care and protection of all children in our communities, in our towns, in our states, and in our country. And I wonder if we could truly say without hesitation, "The children are well. Yes, all the children are well."
Before the break, I mentioned Ms. Betty Murchison. Here's a few things I want to tell you about her before we get into this discussion.
Betty has been called a serial entrepreneur because of her initiative in starting various nonprofit and for-profit corporations. She served as founder and executive director of the Du Bois Center and founder CEO of the W.E.B. Du Bois Community Development Corporation, both nonprofits serving Wake and surrounding counties. Her hard work and ability to build collaborative partnerships helped her take both agencies to multi-million-dollar organizations. As a seasoned consultant, Betty now offers her expertise to emerging nonprofit leaders through her agency, Oasis Training and Consulting. Her clients include million-dollar corporations and nonprofits across North Carolina. The parent company, Oasis Health and Wellness Centers International, is an agency dedicated to healthy living through the use of culturally appropriate holistic healing. This includes meditation, therapeutic support groups, and expressive arts. The class offerings provide support for families recovering from traumatic life experiences. Betty has a degree in political science, criminal justice from North Carolina University. She has done graduate work at Duke University and Harvard. She received a certificate from UNC Chapel Hill Emerging Leaders in Public Health Fellow and earned a certificate in nonprofit management from Duke University. She taught her early childhood classes at Wake Technical Community College for several years. Betty's experience on nonprofit boards include Habitat for Humanity, the Salvation Army, North Carolina Freedom Monument Park, Preservation North Carolina Center for Nonprofits, and The People. Coupled with her training and work reviewing grants for Wake County Public School System, Triangle United Way, Wake County Smart Start, New Profit Civic Lab, and the federal government, she is uniquely prepared to share knowledge with others. She's hosted workshops on all aspects of nonprofit management through the Nonprofit Huddle and with the Innovation and Entrepreneurship Center at Shaw University. Betty's work in racial equity started when she and her classmates integrated a local high school. She's been trained as a facilitator for study circles on race and as a circle keeper for facilitated conversations about race. Betty received a 2022 grant from the Abolitionist Teaching Network to develop a curriculum for parents to teach African American children how to handle microaggressions and racial threats. Her latest project is the launch of the Village of Care, a suicide prevention mental health initiative for youth. The Community Task Force for Child Mental Health was a brainchild of hers that has now launched the Village of Care. She continues to advocate for those who don't feel heard or get left behind.
And now joining me in the studio is Miss Betty Murchison. So I have my dear friend, my mentor, who has actually been a part of Fathers Forever from quite some time now, and she reminds me so much of my mom.
Oh.
I used to try to call her Betty. She wanted me to call her Betty, and every time I try to call her Betty, I can hear my mom say, "Don't do that. Say Miss Betty." So I can never call her Betty Murchison. She's always going to be Miss Betty to me.
Oh,
but she has been a tremendous help to Fathers Forever. Fathers Forever, I could honestly say, we would not be what we are today if it wasn't for you. I mean, it just really is the truth. You have really came into us, offered us some advice, some very good advice that kept us out of a lot of trouble a couple of times. And really, you was one of the first ones that wrote a grant for us that we are now still walking in that grant.
Wow.
And so I just want to thank you for being. So when my staff and I decided we want to do something for Black History Month and want to interview somebody, you're the first person that came to my mind. So, and I just want to start out with asking a question. You're retired now, right?
No.
You're not retired?
No, I'm never retired.
No, well, in a sense of.
You might need me, Glenn.
No. But
my
my point was, I'm retired, on paper, but I have to stop working. They don't count. And so I actually am working more harder now than I am when I was working for the county. So my question is, as you get older and you and I older, what is the why in your life? What makes you get up every morning? I mean, you got your Social Security, you got your pension or whatever. What drives you? And I know money's part of it, but that's not really what drives you. No. What drives you to get up and be a part of and do all these things that you are doing in the community now?
It's people like you, Glenn.
Oh, that's so
people like you and Angela and the work y'all do here at Fathers Forever. I still feel I'm relevant. I feel I'm needed. I know that there's work out there to be done. I know that just because you reach a certain age, you shouldn't just stop working
Right.
in the community. As a matter of fact, I feel that I am better suited for work now because I've got a number of contacts I've developed over the years. I've got resources. I know how to get stuff done.
Yes, that you do.
And I enjoy what I do. I really, really enjoy working with emerging nonprofits, mature nonprofits like your own, and being able to help with opening doors as well as moving uh, the progress of these agencies using all of the things I've developed over the years.
Wow. I mean, you have taught us so much, and as we get older, we now have a lot more wisdom than we did when we first.
We hope.
Some of us. We hope so. Yeah. So, and my why is kind of like yours. I think people should, at 50, 55, 60 years old, should really start working a full-time job and get back to the community. That would be my. Everybody just
I like that.
and you get the younger people opportunity to come up and take our position.
Yes.
So we've been there 30 years, so we retired.
Yes.
And now we go out in the community and we help other people.
I like
and we
that
start
idea,
nonprofits.
Glenn. I like that idea.
Yeah. So we got a couple of questions I want to get into. Since February is a Black History Month, name a few Black leaders, both local and national, that has been an inspiration to you.
Wow, local and national. Well, I have to start with my parents, just like your parents, and that's one of the things that we connected with over the years is that we were brought up the same way.
Yes.
Good old country families that did things for their own family as well as others. So my mom and dad, Oni and Virginia Edwards, were definitely influences. There's not a day that go by that I don't think about them. I've learned a lot from your mom and dad. Reading your books, listening to your testimonies about how they moved you and touched you, and I look at the man you've become and how you raised your children using that philosophy.
Wow.
And so your parents have influenced me, even though I never got to meet them in life. I think that there are many, many leaders who have blazed a trail. I know some folks personally, some I don't know. I was on a program the other day and I talked about Barbara Jordan, who was a legislator from Texas. Barbara was so strong and so articulate whenever she made presentations, and I always studied her and thought, I want to be like her. I remember Oprah talking about wanting to be like Barbara Walters and practicing journalism. Barbara Walters. I always thought I was going into politics, and I wanted to emulate Barbara Jordan from the great state of Texas. She was the first African American woman elected from the state of Texas.
Wow.
So she had to slay some dragons.
Yeah.
She had to really go through the mud. And I look at other people, Septima Clark and Fannie Lou Hamer, to march into the Democratic National Convention and sit yourself down. And you were such a threat that the President of the United States called a press conference to preempt the network covering you.
That's powerful.
Powerful. And she only had a 6th, 7th, 8th grade education, but knew what her purpose was in life. And those are the people I admire. Folks who kind of figure out their purpose and go doggedly toward that goal.
Wow. Well, I remember we went to a function where John Lewis was there.
And,
yes. So I mean, you introduced me to that. But to see you, talking to John and you guys had that conversation, I was like, man, this is. This is yeah. So
getting in good trouble, Glenn. That's what
get in trouble. Get in trouble. That's what he said.
We get in
when
good
you get in
trouble.
trouble, and I think, Betty, from knowing you over the years, you get in good trouble.
I try.
And you push other people to get in good trouble.
Push, pull,
pull, whatever. Whenever you call me and say, let's do this, I am good. And it doesn't matter about the trouble that we get into because it's good trouble. So my next question is, now that we're coming out of COVID, we're in the post-COVID era, what is your assessment of the Black community?
Oh, man. I tell you, Glenn, that many of us who do this work, we're already in social justice work, social justice leaders, we already knew about the health disparities between Blacks and whites and Latinos. We already knew that. And we were pulling our hair out, worrying when we went into the pandemic. We were like, this is not going to be pretty. And it wasn't.
Right.
And so I'm glad now that there's a bright spotlight being shone on the health disparities and all the economic disparities, and how are we going to fix this? So I hope we're going to develop meaningful dialogue, which will lead to results in these communities. The health disparities have grown wider, yes. Educational disparities and inequities, that's wider. Legal, all aspects where race plays an issue in our lives, we have seen that our communities have not fared very well. And so I'm in circles in different groups where people are really having meaningful conversations about it now and looking at what is it we can do. And so I'm encouraged by that.
Wow. Yeah. Which is, this is another whole conversation. So leading up to that question, let's talk about the mental health as a whole in the Black community. We talked about post-COVID,
yes,
but as a whole now, because that COVID brought in another whole world. So what in the Black community, what is your take on the mental health as a whole in the Black community?
We are in a crisis, and I want to make sure that people understand, if you take nothing else away from this conversation today, we are in a mental health crisis, especially with our children. We saw a world turned upside down, things we never saw before. We weren't able to practice our funeral etiquette when people died.
Right.
I lost friends, Glenn lost friends, and sometimes you couldn't go to the funeral.
Exactly.
One of my childhood friends, I couldn't go to her funeral. The minister only allowed 40 people in the church. She had a large family, and that was hard. That was really hard. I have two other friends who lost two different people who lost their mothers in New York during COVID. They could not go to New York for their mother's funeral. They had to watch it on Zoom. Can you imagine having to watch your mom's funeral?
I don't want to have to imagine that. That would be, in itself.
Yes.
It's sad.
Yes.
That in itself is, yeah.
Yeah. And a lot of children lost grandparents, and sometimes that was their safety net,
Right.
And any of you think back on times when mom and dad, you were in trouble with them, you run to grandma, run to granddaddy, right? And they provide cover for you, baby. So we lost leaders in the community. We have not really grieved those losses, and we have just moved on, especially with our children.
Right.
When they opened up, they were out of school for a year and a half, 2 years. When they opened up the school doors, we just said, send them on in. They'll be all right. They're young. They'll get over it. Well, guess what? They're not over it. I know in the news here in Wake County, it's not a week that's gone by that we haven't seen school closure.
Because of?
School lockdown because of guns.
Yes.
They're bringing guns to school. There are threats being called into school. These are children who are crying out for help.
What is the connection? Show us the connection of these things that are going on in school, because sometimes we don't connect the dots. We just think it's a separate issue. We just think that, the school shooting is over here, a child depression is over here. We don't connect the dots and put that together for us.
You're absolutely on target, Glenn. It's all connected. School is a child's life. For students, that's their life. For many of us, we got work, we got church, we got other civic groups. But for children, school is their life. That's where they go for athletics. They go there, they eat with their friends, they socialize, they learn. And when that was shut down for a year and a half, 2 years, the social emotional learning was interrupted. Many children sat home with younger siblings. I heard one teenager say, after my parents leave for work, I have to get up, get my younger siblings up, sit them down at their laptop or their tablet, and help them get logged on and get their work. I got to feed them breakfast first.
Wow.
Then I've got to get them logged on to their computer. Then I've got to log on to my lesson And then they'll come and interrupt me, and I've got to go help this one and help that one. And then I got to feed them lunch. And he went on, and I thought, oh my God, I hadn't even thought about that. All of my children are grown and gone, and I don't have grandkids, but all kids are mine. And so I was worried, and I thought, that's rough. Meanwhile, he didn't get to see and connect. He was a high school student.
Wow.
So he didn't get to see and connect with his buddies like he normally does during school. He's babysitting and teaching. And that's what he said. He said, I am teaching and babysitting.
Wow. Because the parents got to go to work.
And he was a student, yes.
Wow.
And so this is it's a serious disruption, and we've never addressed
right. And so we come out of COVID, and we just pushed those kids,
pushed them right
to school, not helping them deal with the anxiety and the depression and the frustration and the lack of social activities.
That's right.
That we just wanted to pick up and so now we're seeing the residual. We're seeing the aftermath, which is depression that sometimes play itself out in anger and bad behavior and wow.
That's exactly
so
right, Clint.
And it's amazing, and I'm glad you pointed that out because I would have never thought that, and I'm sure your audience never really. If you just go back and listen to what you just said, because if you don't have younger kids, you don't imagine. Now the parents who do have younger kids, they still may not
they
understand. They don't what this parent, this son is, and so many sons and daughters are going through that because they had to be the parent, and we understand parents got to go to work. We get that. Yeah. But what we have to do now is try to figure out a way to help these kids. And so, which brings me to my next question. A few months ago, you came to me with an idea, like you did with several other people. Yeah. And I want to tell the audience something. When Miss Betty comes to you with an idea, no one's not on the table. Not that she's gonna make you do it, but she compels you to want to do it. Oh my. Her presence, her heart makes you want to get off your butt and do something. Even if you're doing a lot, it's no excuse. You can't. You still. Miss Betty, I'm doing 10 other things. Add one more thing to your table, and that's what we did. But gladfully, because Father Forever is a nonprofit work with fathers. And we see a lot of kids devastated because of the absence of fathers.
Yes.
And so like 70% of kids who drop out of high school come from a fatherless home. And we could go down to statistics. And so we want the fathers to understand their presence in the kids or their absence in the kids' life.
Yes.
And so you created this thing, and I want you to really dive into us and tell us about this village of care that you have created and that has taken on some legs and some wings now. And I know we met Friday yesterday, a couple of days ago, and you gave us some more good reports. But tell us a little bit about the history and where we're going with this.
Wow. Thank you, Glenn. I guess. I am blessed to have so many good friends like Glenn and Angela and the folks here at Fathers Forever who believe enough in me that when I approached them with an idea, they were like, well, let's talk about that or let's think about that. And maybe, we can help some. And they have always opened their doors and been so graceful and so gracious about signing on and joining in this work. So the Village of Care is a program that we started working on last summer. And I called together because I don't feel like I'm smart enough to figure these things out, but I got friends that are smart and they come from all different sectors and industries. So we brought together nutritionists and mental health consultants and faith community and grandmamas and grandfathers and academics. And we just had a broad cross section of people to talk about suicide prevention. It started with suicide prevention for young people because we had a lot of young people committing suicide. One child in was it middle school committed suicide at school. Yeah. So not only did he take his life, but he traumatized all the kids in the school by committing taking his life there. And so when we were talking about it, we were like, this is unacceptable. We live in Wake County, and it is one of the wealthiest counties in the South.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, home prices here are through the roof, and everybody is Amazon, and everybody else is moving offices here.
Yes.
And we have a great tax base. So why can't we solve this problem?
Yes.
So many resources, Glenn.
Yes.
Why can't we solve this problem? But we know that there's some things out of our hand. There are not enough social workers. There are not enough therapists.
Yes.
That will take years. Caseworkers.
Yeah.
It's going to take years for folks to go through the training, the education, the licensure to be able to treat children or treat adults.
Right.
So we were like, well, the cavalry is not going to come and rescue us.
They're not coming.
They are not coming. Don't look for them. We've got to save our own selves.
We got to fix this. Yeah.
And we got to fix it. And so we start putting our heads together and thinking through this. And one of the things that kept bubbling up is that when we were, and Glenn and I both grew up in rural communities, didn't have a lot of families, didn't have a lot of money, but we had people in the community who cared about us. And if you couldn't talk to your parents or your siblings, you had grandparents, you had aunts, you had uncles, you had other people that you could go and talk to, and they would listen to us and offer help. Might not be what we wanted to hear, but it kept us until we were sane enough to keep ourselves.
Right.
And so we started developing a model where we were going to call grandparents up out of retirement or whatever they were doing and put them to work. We need to teach you active listening skills, youth first aid, mental health, all the things that will help you become an advocate, become a resource in your community. So that's how Village of Care was birthed. And CARE is an acronym. It stands for compassion, awareness, resources, and education. And our goal is very simple because we wanted to develop a model we can replicate anywhere.
Let's go ahead. Say that one more time.
The Village of Care?
No, what the acronym stands for.
The acronym is for compassion, awareness, resources, and education. Yes.
Wow. Yes.
So what we want to do is to find enough compassionate people like your audience members who we can make you aware that we are in a crisis. You may not know it. You may think, well, my grandchild's just acting like a teenager, and you don't know that he's going to carry a gun to school.
Wow.
You know?
Yeah.
So we want to make you aware that there's a crisis.
Connect the dots.
Yeah, connect the dots. And we want to educate you. We are going to provide the training that you need in order to be the resource in your own community. And a village is wherever you are. My village goes with me wherever I go. I have a village. And that's what we wanted to use, that concept. Because this is what our ancestors did. Wow. We're just going back, Glenn, to what we learned, right?
That's what, I mean, when I was coming up, if I did something at school, or if I did something with my next door neighbors, when I got home, my parents knew about it.
Yes.
Because somebody in the community always called them and told them, and, and so that was the village.
Yes.
We all brought up it. We have to, even though with all the technology, and we work with the technology, all that stuff, but we also need to go back to the village.
Yes, sir.
And together, because our kids now, because of technology, exposed to so much more things than we are.
That's right.
So when you got the kid who shot himself at the school, that becomes a copycat.
That's right.
You know you got people.
Other children want to try it too.
Because they could Google this stuff and see how it was done. Yeah. And so this concept of village is really, really, in my opinion, God's way of saying this is how we can help. I mean, I believe in prayer. I believe in, revival. I believe in God. But God is saying, I give you some.
I'm here. What you doing?
Exactly.
What are you doing?
What can you do with the skills and the talents that I've given you?
That's right.
And that's one of the reasons we wanted just not talk to you about Black History Month, but to talk to you about this Village of Care. And we could do some more segments about this. Because I think this is something important that the community need to know about. And I was going to say this later, but I'll say it now. Go to our website, go to Ms. Betty's website, and begin to find out what you can do to get involved in this. Because we really need people.
We need people.
Young people, old people from all fields. Nurses, doctors, social workers, mechanics. We all, it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
And so we really, really want to I want you to go back and say those 4 things one time.
Sure.
You can't. We can't say that enough.
Yeah. Well, the village of care is the village of compassion, the village of awareness, the village of resources, and the village of education.
Which is now brings to the point of educating. So you're going to be doing some workshops, and tell us about that.
Yes, we will be having trainings. We're working with collaboratively with partners like NAMI, National Association of Mentally Ill, and we're going to be offering trainings that will be free to anyone. We've offered some already. We've offered 4 in communities around Wake County. My colleague, Dr. Rodney Harris, who is part of the we call it a task force. It's community task force on child mental health, and Glenn and Angela and other people are part of that too. And he's offering it in barbershops. So, because barbers are directly, see your children. I've asked him to offer it in beauty shops and with locticians and everywhere. And so we will come to you wherever you are, and you can gather up a few more friends. We will come to you, because if you're armed, if you're compassionate and you're aware of what's going on, we can educate you as to how you can intervene, how you can be that person. John Lewis also said, if you see something, say something.
Yes.
And we can't say something if we don't understand what it is we're seeing.
Right.
And we can teach people how to be aware that a child is going through a mental health crisis, and it's not just the teen years and all of that. But hopefully we can give parents and community people, you're the first line of defense.
Right.
If we can equip you with the tools and the education you need to understand what you're looking at, maybe we can make our schools safer, make our communities safer.
Right. So you'll be training, there's a quote, I live by quotes.
Mm-hmm.
I love quotes.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the quotes that we talk, that observation is the key to insight.
That's good.
I mean, I wish I was part of it. I wish I could
keep it as
keep that one, but I had to talk about it. I got it from somebody else. And I don't remember what I got from that one. It stuck with me for many, many years.
Yeah.
Observation is the key to insight.
That's very good.
So if we can be aware and observe what's going on in our community, observe what's going on to our kids, because of that, we have insight.
Yes.
Now we can say, oh, our kids are, these are signs of depression.
Yes.
Or these are signs of substance abuse.
Yes.
Or these are suicidal stuff.
Yes.
And because of that insight now, we can start. And one of the things that I love about you, Miss Betty, is that's what you do. You observe. And that's how you come up with this village of hope, village of care.
Yeah.
Because you observe the roots of the crisis, and you come up with some insights how to fix this problem. And I am so honored to be a part of this whole thing. And
to do it without you, wouldn't think about doing it without you.
You call me anytime you want. You call me. So I know we can go on and on, Miss Betty, with this, and I know our time is drawing near. So, in final words, conclusions, what would you like the audience to know? And I want you to give them your contact information, your phone number, whatever you need to give them.
Sure.
And so just.
Thank you, Glenn. Thank you, first of all, for having me here. I really appreciate that. I love your broadcast and just was glad to come on today. Yes. And I'm really grateful that there are other soldiers like Glenn out there in the field who are advocating and who are doing all they can to make sure that our families are healthy families and that they're safe. Our village has all it needs to heal itself.
Yes.
We've just got to be the resources, provide the education, the training. I do parenting workshops. Glenn does parenting workshops. We can help you figure out how to raise your family in a wholesome, healthy way. We can help you figure out how to get off substances that you may be abusing. We can help you figure out how to develop a mental health plan so that you have good mental health, your children have good mental health, and that we can all feel better about ourselves. When I read the statistic that suicide is the leading cause of death for children in North Carolina, ages 12 to 17.
Wow.
That's just unacceptable to me.
Yeah.
And I just don't think we have to just sit around and live with these statistics. We all have the ability to do something. All of us can't do everything, but each of us can do something. And we want you to be a light in a child's life. And we invite you to join us on this journey. There's room at the table for everybody. Glenn and I would welcome you.
Yes. So thank you, Ms. Betty, for coming and part of this broadcast. And to our audience, please look us up on Facebook. Look Ms. Betty up on Facebook and get involved in what we're doing in the community. And there's a lot of people now that's really wants to, the meeting that we had Friday.
Yeah.
One of the ladies said, she was her husband was there, and she's like, I really want to.
Yeah.
I really,
They're both retired and ready to roll their sleeves up.
And I say to my colleagues, you retired now.
Yeah.
And it's fine, it's good, but your life hasn't ended.
Yes.
Get involved in the community and do something, whether it's this or anything in the community, but it's especially got a heart for kids.
Yes. We need
get involved. We need you to really get involved in and help them take care of this.
Yes, and I'll share my web address.
Yes.
My agency is Oasis Health and Wellness Centers International, and the acronym is OHWCI.com, or you can go to BettyMurchison.com, and that's BettyMurchison.com is the other website. And my email address is BettyMurchison@gmail.com. BettyMurchison@gmail.com. My phone number is 919-714-3854. And you can always contact me through Glenn Warren.
Yes.
My good friend.
She's on my speed dial.
I gotta be special if I'm on Glenn's speed dial. Thank you.
Anyway, thank you so much, Ms. Betty, for coming, and to the audience, check us out, and again, I want to thank you so much for being part of this podcast.
You're welcome, Glenn. Absolutely.
Okay.
I enjoyed it.
Here's 3 ways you can support our Dads at a Distance initiative. Give a copy to a family member, our friend. Donate monthly, a book monthly, 5 books monthly, how many books you want to do monthly donation. Reverse book signing, your church, your business. You can make a donation go to our website at www.afatherforever.com and go to our PayPal at Fathers Forever. Our Cash App is $Fathers Forever. Make your donation today. Please include in the note section, include DAAD. Again, include in the note section DAAD. Wow, what an amazing interview with Betty Murchison. She is a wealth of knowledge. She's very informative. She's helped so many people so many years do so many things. I'm really grateful I had the opportunity to interview her as my mentor, as my friend, my coworker. She has been amazing part of Fathers Forever, and I really, really hope you guys enjoyed the interview. And go back and listen to it again and send it to your friends, people that are struggling with mental health and kids. Please be a part of what she's doing in the community, the Village of Church. Well, we certainly appreciate you all for spending your lunch hour with us. We know you could have been anywhere doing anything else, but you chose to dine with us instead. If you did find your lunch fulfilling, hopefully the knowledge you learned in this broadcast was mindful. Until next meal, once again, please be sure to leave a message or comment letting us know how we did. If there's any topics you would like to discuss, or there's any guests you would like for us to bring on the show, or if you would like to be a part of the show, please visit our website at www.afatherforever.com. Call us at area code 919-779-9905. The Chat and Chew broadcast screen every Thursday at 12 o'clock p.m. on YouTube and Facebook. Thank you. Until we meet again.